Excellent. So it is 3:30. So let's get started. Thank you to everyone who's joined us today. I really appreciate you being here. I realize some of you have been to other presentations from myself in the hotels today. So I appreciate you coming to hear about Jade Mountain in St. Lucia as well. I'd like to introduce you to Carolyn, who is one of the owners and directors of Jade Mountain, probably one of the most impressive and inspiring ladies I think I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. She wouldn't say it herself, so I'm going to say it for her. So everyone, I'd like to introduce you to Carolyn, and over to you.
Good afternoon. Hi, everyone. Happy to be here with you today. So as Fiona just said, my husband Nick and I are the owners of two resorts in St. Lucia, Anne's Chastenay and Jade Mountain. Our focus today is Jade Mountain. The resorts are directly adjoining, and we are in the most scenic part of the island, which is the southwest corner of St. Lucia. And it is not only immensely beautiful above water. If you go under and dive right in, we are also in the heart of the island's marine reservoirs. Our estate is a 600-acre estate stretching over two valleys and giving us therefore the advantage of two beaches. And in the valley behind the second beach, we have walking and hiking trails. I will show them to you in a little while. We are the only resort property in St. Lucia with a private helipad. So when you arrive at Hibanora International Airport, it would be 60 minutes by land taxi and only 6 minutes by helicopter. From Castries, the airport in the north, it would be about 75 minutes and 7 minutes by helicopter. These are just some snapshots of our various beaches. This is the Anne's Chastenay beach. You can see how beautifully crystal clear the waters are. This is the second beach of Anne's Main. And here again in the valley behind that second beach, we have this amazing estate dating back to the 18th century where you can walk through this beautiful virgin forest. And I do that so often, and I'm so grateful to have the opportunity. We kept this completely natural. The only thing we did is build the hiking and biking trails. And we have daily tours with Mano, our guide, who also does bird watching tours. So a beautiful area. So Anne's Chastenay is I call it a mothership. We've owned Anne's Chastenay since the 70s, and there's 49 rooms, which are partly on the hillside, partly at beach level, and directly above is Jade Mountain. Jade Mountain's concept is that of a resort within a resort. So when you stay at Jade Mountain, you also have privileges at Anne's Chastenay. Even though the focus is on Anne's Chastenay, on Jade Mountain, I just want to tell you that Anne's Chastenay in itself is a beautiful property, very different to Jade Mountain, very colorful, really celebrating art and celebrating also our very nice Caribbean authentic heritage. The top categories at Anne's Chastenay, where we have 49 rooms, are the premium categories, where you see we also have really beautiful piton views, and some of them have an open wall. And these were certainly the catalyst for what eventually then became Jade Mountain. So again, we're setting the pace now for what you expect when you come to Jade Mountain. And as a Jade Mountain guest, you do have privileges at Anne's Chastenay. I've shown you the beaches, and now we're looking a little bit at the dining options at Anne's Chastenay. Here we have a great many choices every day. You have Caribbean fine dining. You have an entirely vegan restaurant, of which I'm very proud. And at the beach level at night, we also have an East Indian St. Lucian fusion cuisine restaurant. And the second beach has a very laid back, we call it the Jungle Grill. So a lot of different choices for all of our guests. Romance is always in the air at Anne's Chastenay and Jade Mountain. So also great opportunity for private beach dining. And another thing we're really famous and well known about is the amazing range of adventure activities. I mentioned the mountain biking trails. You can rent mountain bikes from us. We have a really excellent water sport, non-motorized water sports range. We have the plantation with the biking trails that I mentioned, and we have also our own scuba diving operation, a Party 5-star. What's new here is that we are very deeply involved and engaged with conservation and regenerative travel. We have recently appointed Carmen Torrencina as our Reef Life and Renewal Ambassador, and we even have our own coral nursery, and we're offering a lot of really interesting courses when it comes to advocacy for ocean conservation. We do like beautiful fish ID classes, turtle talks, and guests really love it. Another really fun activity is our Eat Them to Beat Them lionfish activity. So if you are a diver or interested in becoming a diver and interested in catching lionfish, we can teach you and you can get certified in the catching of lionfish. I guess you know what lionfish are. They're beautiful looking fish, but they are really invasive. So we don't want them on the reefs. And the best thing you can do is catch them and then eat them to beat them. And then we do these wonderful, the wonderful dinners where everything centers around lionfish. We also have a wonderful excursion program. We do our own excursions. We have 2 sailboats that belong to the property. We had only one, now we have 2 sailboats. The latest one is a 50-footer, also excellent for small groups up to 12 guests. And we curate these excursions exclusively for our guests at Anshas in Jade Mountain. There are 3 yoga instructors offering complimentary yoga morning and night. And we are obviously quite close to, in the Southwest, to major island sightseeing attractions like the Sulphur Springs and also botanical gardens. Another new activity is our art classes, very popular. Twice weekly we offer art classes, and we also have an art gallery that our guests can visit. So finally, we are actually now talking about Jade Mountain itself. Jade Mountain is a property that from the moment it opened its doors in 2007, ending of 2006, it attracted an enormous amount of publicity because it is simply a very unique experience. It has been designed and built by my husband, Nick, who is an architect, and it resembles more a sculpture than hotel structure in the traditional sense. When you arrive, you cross over your own personal bridge. And once you have crossed the bridge, you get to your entrance door of your suite. We call the suites sanctuaries. And this is, in fact, what your accommodation looks like. So what Jade Mountain is well known for is this truly amazing view of our Piton Mountains. The entire structure of Jade Mountain is a celebration of the amazing view of the Pitons. You have an open wall experience, and it is also open platform, meaning whether you are in your bed, on your couch, or in your massive pool, you're always one-on-one with the views. The pools are up to 900 square feet in size, so these are not plunge pools. This is an adults only property. The minimum age here is 16 years. We do have actually one interconnecting suite at Jade Mountain, which is a star and moon sanctuary together. And not that we want to encourage you to bring your family, but if you want, I mean, there are the children, if the children are old enough, you have this opportunity for one interconnecting suite. So what are the categories at Jade Mountain? There are 5 different categories: sky, star, moon, sun, galaxy. There are 24 rooms with private pools. And here the leading category is the star sanctuary. Even though we call that our smallest pool sanctuary, you can see that the pools here are still over 450 square feet in size, and that the suites themselves are also quite spacious with over 1,200 square feet. The next category up is the moon sanctuary. And then you would end up with the sun sanctuary. So what's the difference? It's really the higher the price, the bigger the suite, the bigger the pool. And the biggest pools go up to 900 square feet. Everything is individually conceptualized as different pool tile colors. These are made from recycled glass, and we have used a multitude of different tropical hardwoods that, of course, have been sustainably harvested. Even our couples tubs have a few. And here I'd like to just add that, the property has been open since 2007. We never stand still. We have last year and this year replaced all of the whirlpool tubs and shower towers, and we have invested over $500,000 US now, and also in new furnishings. So there's always something happening. We never really stand still. The top category is our Galaxy Sanctuary. There are 3 of them. What makes them so special? Well, there's literally no walls left. You are out there with nature and surrounded by the most amazing view, possibly in the Caribbean. And you're facing not only towards the Pitons, but also directly into the sunset. which is I think, really unforgettable experience. The pools are all heated, and so our guests love staying in these pools for a long time. And then I keep mentioning that 24 sanctuaries have a private pool, and there are 29 altogether. So there is actually 5 sanctuaries without a private pool. These are the Sky Whirlpool Suites. They're at the lower level of Jade Mountain, also have a wonderful view and have this open wall experience. The service team is led by our butlers. The butlers are called major domos, and sort of, if you want to really be very private whilst you're staying with us, you can literally interact only with the major domo, and major domo will handle every aspect of your holiday. Jade Mountain guests have their own restaurant and also their own concierge and also their own reception at Jade Mountain. The restaurant is exclusive to Jade Mountain guests. We have maybe 1 or 2 tables a night that can be booked for non-resident guests. Non-residents in this case could be Anshastane guests. There would be a little surcharge for them, or if they stay at nearby resorts or elsewhere on island, they could also make a reservation, but it is kind of difficult to get a reservation simply because the property, the restaurant is really catering mostly to our own resident guests. On top of Jade Mountain Club is the Celestial Terrace, fantastic for stargazing, fantastic for sunset drinks. If you have non-resident guests wanting to visit, I always say, don't come when it's dark. I mean, start the experience by having sunset cocktails first on the terrace and then dinner after, or just come for sunset cocktails. We have a little package there as well. Terrace is famous for the famous Red Rose proposal with the Bachelor series. We've had US, UK, and German bachelors from this series, but we honestly like better when normal people propose to each other, because they actually do get married and then send us beautiful pictures very often of their little babies, and some of them are then called Jade. We love that. Again, beautiful opportunities for private dinners. There's 2 beaches where we can make that happen. And our chefs are very happy that we have our own organic farm. They're getting a lot of produce from our farm. What we do with our farm is we still, of course, support all of our local farmers, but at our own farm, we focus on growing things that are not so easily available on island, like special herbs, microgreens, maybe different type of peppers. And then we do also cooking classes at the farm. And my son, the new generation of this family-owned business, decided that what we really needed to make it special was a brewery. So now when you come to Jade Mountain and visit the farm, you can also have a beer tasting experience. More traditional, perhaps, is our chocolate production. We have over 2,000 cocoa trees, and you can go to the farm and learn all about the harvesting process. We show you how cocoa is then put into chocolate by visiting our chocolate lab. So the process is the harvest, the fermenting, the drying, and then the roasting of the beans. Then you go to the chocolate lab, and we show you how to make chocolate. Now, if you don't want to eat the chocolate, you can drink chocolate-infused ale beer from our beer collection, or if that isn't good enough, then go to the spa, and we have amazing chocolate treatments, facials, and body treatments. Have chocolate all over if you like. And the latest ecstasy really that we have come up with is we actually wanted to call it the chocolate ecstasy platter, but we called it now the chocolate dream nightcap. So this is a complimentary amenity for our chocoholics, that if you have this craving for chocolate at any time during the day or at night, you call your major domo, even if it's 2 a.m. in the morning, and we deliver this platter, which we call the chocolate dream nightcap, to you. There's a little boutique spa and fitness center at Jade Mountain. And of course, yoga is offered on the terrace as well as at Anshastane. And then we have an amazing sustainability story. Sustainability is very important to us. We have, I would say, practiced sustainable operations since we bought Anshastane in the 70s. And that, of course, then has carried through to Jade Mountain. What we can build locally, we build locally. As a matter of fact, Jade Mountain has beautiful locally made furniture. I need to put some pictures in for my next presentation, because we, again, building a lot of our own furniture that we're now introducing. And I think we should start selling furniture and calling it the Jade Mountain Masterpieces. We have really, we try to show our guests all the various, advocacy issues that we're involved in, the farm, the linkages programs with farms, our cocoa production. And then we also have a wonderful behind the scenes tours that our guests can request to participate in, where we show you how we handle our water management. Again, it's very important for a resort to not burden our surrounding communities with our water needs. So we were able to rehabilitate a reservoir of 2 million gallon water to serve for our water needs, especially at Jade Mountain. We have also really gone into great detail to manage our waste. And the wastewater management has a very novel system of reed beds that, again, you can visit. And for that, we actually got a prize from the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States. And we were also recently recognized with the Sustainability Award by the Caribbean Tourism Organization. We are also part of regenerative travel, simply saying that we don't want to just, sustain, we want to leave something better behind. This is why, obviously, we're very proud of the work we do with Marine Health and the Coral Nursery. And again, those who know me, I never stand still. I don't have hobbies such as tennis or golf, but I make my volunteer leadership time available to many organizations. I'm the chairperson of the Caribbean Biodiversity Fund, which is a regional organization, a fund of $175 million that is really working with national conservation funds across the Caribbean to help conserve and preserve and enhance, especially our marine environment. I'm the chairperson of the St. Lucia National Conservation Fund. We're very proud of the introduction of our Marine Health Alliance. We are just building the website for this, and I'm also the chair of the Education Foundation. So I think that we do what we can to not just be there and operate, but also give back and be responsible operators. And that's it. I can leave one slide on and just invite questions now. I didn't look at the chat, so maybe you want to call the questions out for me if there's any.
Perfect. So thank you so much, Carolyn. That was really, really great. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to put them into the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. There's currently nothing in there at the moment. However, let me see what I can come up with. What board bases can we book at Jade Mountain?
So we are one of the properties that allow you to book either a sanctuary only or, in fact, with breakfast and dinner or all inclusive. We have all of these meal plan options available.
Perfect. A question here from Amy. How do you get down to the beach at Jade Mountain?
It is possible to simply stroll down to the beach. I would say you make it down there from Jade Mountain in about 4 minutes, but we also have resort shuttles. Some guests enjoy the exercise walking down and back up. Back up is, of course, a little harder, so some guests then opt to take the shuttle on the way up.
Thank you very much. Liz has added here, it's a lovely walk down to the beach. Yes, absolutely, Liz. It is lovely. A little harder to get back up, as Karen said, but just call your major domo and they'll come in and they'll send a car down to get you, which is always a luxury. So one from Charlotte here. If staying at Anne Chastenay, are the guests still able to visit Jade Mountain for dinner just once?
Yes. So the Jade Mountain Club accepts reservations from Anne Chastenay guests or non-resident guests, but there's only like 2 or 3 tables a night, so it's good to plan ahead. And if you stay at Anne Chastenay and you are on a meal plan there would be a small surcharge. I believe it's about $35 US to be able to dine at Jade. But it is a lovely experience, and we definitely want to make it available to our guests at Anne Chastenay as well.
Great. And do you find the guests at Jade Mountain, do they eat just in Jade Mountain Club, or do they tend to venture out and try Anne Chastenay's restaurants as well?
No, I think that we see definitely an interest in a combination of things. I mean, the average stay with us is about between 5 and 7 nights, which having to say, though, that British guests tend to stay a little longer. We have 10 and 40 night stays there for sure. But we see basically a pattern of eating maybe twice. If it's a 7-night stay, you would eat at Jade Mountain maybe 3 times, and then you would try to get in a private dinner on the beach, you might want to book, we call it Chef on Wheels, where you dine in your sanctuary and the chef comes to your sanctuary to prepare a meal there. Or of course, you can have dinner in our Treehouse restaurant, the vegan restaurant, or Apsara Fine Dining. These are all good choices. And, it's such an interesting combination of resorts, and the fact that we are catering to a AAA 5 Diamond clientele at Jade Mountain that has high expectations. Obviously, the service levels have to be the same, whether you are at Jade Mountain or Anshastane. Same with the culinary experience. It has to be as enticing at Anshastane as it is at Jade Mountain. So this is really also the benefit for Anshastane guests, that we're operating with a very high standard of service and culinary experience.
Absolutely. And am I right in thinking there's a scuba center on the beach as well at Jade Mountain on Anshastane Beach?
Yes, this is a Party 5 store, and we were one of the earliest operators of scuba on island, and it is in fact really a wonderful activity, because St. Lucia in the Eastern Caribbean has probably some of the best coral reefs there are in the Eastern Caribbean, and we are surrounded by them. So if you're not a scuba diver, it's also very easy to just go snorkeling and enjoy what is surrounding you.
Perfect. And with the open wall concept at Jade Mountain, do you find that you ever get mosquitoes, for example, inside the rooms, or anything from the outside coming in?
So obviously with an open wall environment, you need to work, I would say, hard at keeping nature at bay. So that means that really mosquitoes need certain conditions to flourish, and we don't want them to flourish. So first of all, we're up on a hillside where you have a good natural breeze that the mosquitoes don't like that. Secondly, we would ensure that there is no standing water, which is again something mosquitoes need to breathe. So we keep a good mosquito-free environment. You could eventually see a bird coming in. So, I mean, please, nobody with bird phobias. The birds are small, though. I'd like to highlight that. Having recently been in Vancouver, where I had a gigantic bird on the balcony, I said to my husband, I'm so glad we don't have Vancouver-sized birds in St. Lucia. So, no, tiny birds. Just
Fantastic. Okay. And what's the most popular room or sanctuary category at Jade Mountain with the UK guests?
Interesting question. I mean, I think that, we have talked a lot about revenge travel. I think I see definitely a tendency that guests book the higher categories. So we see a lot more bookings in the moon and the sun category. And, I mean, for British guests, even for 2 weeks, they book these higher categories. There is a fan club, I would say, for practically every sanctuary, and keep in mind that there's different pool tile colors. We have a China red pool, we have different shades of blue, we have different shades of green. And so sometimes, not that we want to encourage you to do this, but some guests really give us, instructions. We want mid-level, we don't want a red pool, we only want a blue pool. So we're trying to make sure that everybody gets exactly what they are looking for.
That's good. Liz has added here, JC1 is her favorite room. That's
one of the Galaxy sanctuaries. So clearly, I mean, the 3 Galaxy sanctuaries are pretty special. And I love nothing more than doing my own sanctuary inspections. And when I know that the sanctuary is not booked for the night, I tend to do everybody out, put do not disturb sign, and spend a few hours in the sanctuary. It's very peaceful. It's very inspiring. I mean, I think that this is what pictures can't get across. There is definitely like this feeling of like you go, like you take a deep breath and you breathe out and you say, oh my goodness. And I think that the interesting phenomenon is also that sometimes guests pre-book a lot of activities, and then when they have set foot in the sanctuary, they then cancel most activities because they realize what they really want to do is be inspired by the surroundings, be inspired by the view, and just sit still and take it all in.
That's really great. Well, I can't see any more questions in the question box. So thank you so much, Carolyn, for that really great presentation. And thank you to everyone who's joined us this afternoon. I will be sending the recording around as usual. So you'll hear from me in about 10 minutes time once that's downloaded. Thank you again, Carolyn. And if anyone has any questions in the meantime, please feel free to reach out to either Carolyn or myself, and we'll always be there to help when we can. So thanks again for coming, and speak to you all soon.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.